Yes, you can start now.
A very good noon to all of you. On the last and final day of semester 1 presentation, I am going to deal with history paper and my topic is socio-political conditions during the Victorian age. These are my personal details. In table of contents, I am going to deal with this particular subtopics. A brief overview about the Victorian age, historical summary of this age, social conditions of people during the Victorian era, political scenario, and conclusion. So, let's begin with a brief overview about the Victorian age. When Victoria became queen in the year 1837, English literature seemed to have entered upon a period of lean years. The Victorian age started in the year 1850 and stayed till 1900. Victorian age considered as one of the most remarkable period in the history of England. So here we can understand that Victorian age came into existence with the arrival of Queen Victoria when she became queen in the year 1837. As we all know that every age had their important years and they are very much important to be remembered. So the important years of Victorian era was from started from 1850 and stayed till 1900. Before Victorian age, earlier we have studied the age of romanticism with the great poets like William Wordsworth, Percy Bysshe Shelley, Lord Byron, John Keats, and many others. And now we are going to discuss about Victorian age. So first came Romanticism, and after that the age of Victorian. In this particular age, some of the inventions also took place. Also, some of the reforms were happened in this age, and that inventions, especially happened in the stream of arts and science, and that is why it is considered as one of the most remarkable period in the history of England. The Victorian age is also known as the modern period of progress and social unrest. Here I have one quotation about Samuel Taylor Coleridge, that if man could learn from history what lesson it might teach us, but passion and party blind our eyes, and the light which experience gives is a lantern on the stern which shines only on the waves behind us. Historical summary of the age. Amid the multitudes of social and political forces of this great age, four things stands out very clearly. After a sketch of the state of literature at the Queen Victoria's accession, men already famous, the essayist, the early novelist, and the great Victorian poets are considered. The literary glory of a new age, which now seems to rank only just below the Elizabethan age. So, if whenever we are talking about the historical summary of the age, or we are talking about the social and political conditions of the age, four things stands out very clearly. They are democracy, social unrest, the age of ideal peace, and arts and science. And I will discuss it each point. So, important points to be understand: democracy, social unrest, the ideal of peace, and arts and science. First one, democracy. The Victorian age was considered as an age of democracy. The long struggle of the Anglo-Saxons for personal liberty is definitely settled. Earlier, people were not feeling free to do such kinds of things, but in this age, freedom was there and given to all. It is said that the House of Commons becomes the ruling power in England. So, from this, our first point, democracy, we can understand that the Victorian age is considered as an age of democracy, because before Victorian era, people were not feel free to do such kinds of things, but now there is a liberty and people are free to explore the new things and ideas which came into their minds, and that is this is how the idea of democracy established in the Victorian era. Social unrest. It is an age of profound social unrest. Multitudes of men, women, and little children in the factories were victims of a terrible social slavery. So, next point is social unrest. That democracy was there and brotherhood was also there, but this Victorian age is known as an age of social unrest because slavery was there. Women have to face all kinds of slavery, and child labor were also there, and that is why it is an age of social unrest. And we can find the religious tolerance in the Victorian era. The ideal of peace, because it was an age of democracy and education, that is why it is an age of comparative peace. England begins to think less of the pomp and false glitter of fighting. So, why Victorian age is considered as an age of ideal peace? Because earlier we have seen that it is an age of democracy and education. And first of all, earlier people were not free to educate themselves, but now the education was there. Everyone can educate themselves. They are free in that kind of things, new things, and new ideas they can explore, and we can understand their influence upon the literature. Brotherhood also become universal during the Victorian era, and that is why this age is known as a comparatively ideal of peace. And the last one, arts and science. The Victorian age is especially remarkable because of its rapid progress in all the arts and science and in mechanical inventions also. We are too much absorbed in our science and mechanics to determine accurately their influence upon literature. That first I have discussed that some of the inventions also took place in the stream of specially arts and science, and that is why this age is known as most remarkable period in the history of England. So reforms and inventions took place during the Victorian era. Social conditions of people during the age. There is nothing particularly new about the observation that the social order in Britain was subjected to immense by the process of urbanization and industrialization. Social control are seen as playing an important role in this age. The social class of this era included the upper, middle, and lower class, and this situation known as Victorian England social hierarchy. Political scenario of the age. Political events happened during the Victorian age. It included the abolition of slavery in the British Empire. Also, new governments are formed and take over, and working class political was activism during the Victorian era. I would like to discuss the social class conflicts with the two novels which are written in the Victorian time. I have not included the slide in my presentations, but I want to explain orally that in Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy and Charles Dickens by Hard Times, both novels written in Victorian age, and both the novels had reflect about social class conflict. That first of all, I want to discuss about Hard Times. That in Hard Times, Charles Dickens had divided the characters into three groups, and one of the group was from working class and also known as Hand, and Stephen Blackpool was from working class, and we can understand that how he suffered throughout the novel as he was trying to become truthful, but society and other aristocratic people doesn't understand this thing, and that is why Stephen Blackpool had to suffer so many things, and he died in the last. Another novel is Jude the Obscure, that our protagonist Jude Foley, who wants from the childhood, who wants to go to Christminster University place. he inspired from his teacher Richard Phillips. But because of he is from working class, his application also rejected. Also rejected. Why? Because he was working as a stonemason and belonging to lower class. But he also learned Latin language. He made so many efforts. He is a scholar than other people, but still, only and only the particular reason for that why his application got rejected and he didn't get a chance to go at Christminster, because he was from working class. So these two novels, we can understand that they both are from the Victorian era, but they had a reflection of the social class conflict. These are my work citations, and now if you have any question, then you can ask me.
Yes, Heather.
Yes.
As you mentioned in your slide that Victorian era is age of democracy. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yes, sure. That we can understand that before Victorian era, there was a romantic age, and in that particular age, people were not free to do such kinds of things, and liberty was also not there. But in the when the Queen Victoria became queen and he came on the throne of accession, democracy established, and the liberty or democracy like painting and writing to explore the new things and ideas are there, and that is why the idea of democracy established in this particular age. Next.
Yes. Ethel, do you think Victorian age was ideal of peace? Because it was also mentioned that it was era of social unrest.
Yes, according to me, Victorian age was an era of social unrest also, because for the reason of social unrest, because slavery, child labor was there. That is why it considered as an age of social unrest. And I also feel the same, that it is an age of ideal peace, because the education and democracy was there, and the idea of brotherhood also become universal in that particular age. So the age of social unrest also, and the age of comparatively peace also, we can consider in a both way.